Trump. Ooh. A demon just got its wings. I consider that fair. Only one. I'm gonna say the name a couple of times in here. But if I'm talking about the same story, that means only one demon gets its wings for me saying the name Trump. You can't pull any of that bullshit. God works in mysterious ways, but God says there are rules. It occurred to me, where the hell does that name come from? Where have I ever met anybody in my entire life named Trump? It's not a fucking name. It's like the Chinese guy I met in Shenzhen when I first got there, and he introduced himself as Dollar. I said, Dollar? You named yourself after Richie Rich's fucking dog? Oh, no, I'm gonna make big money. Yeah, and another guy named Bang Bang that liked fighting and liked the movies. Okay, you ever make it to the U.S.? I don't see many Dollars and Bang Bangs running around. They figure it out by then that they don't just fucking pick a stupid name. But it seems to me that this Trump name is a stupid name by somebody that was a card shark swindler to begin with, somewhere in the ancestry.com. This is what I'm doing right here. I'm doing something in the way of an ancestry.com type of thing. Let's go. Where did Trump's parents come from? And I'm sure everybody knows. But I don't give a fuck enough to pay attention to it. I don't need to know. Because, well, until recently, he's just a stupid fucker that people only respected because he had money. He never did anything for him. And he was always a guy with money because he was born into it. They like to dream of kings and queens and guillotines in fucking America, too. And the United States of America. And so all he's ever been good for is the idea that he was in the money. And then he loses an election and like, you're a fucking loser. I'm hearing that word a lot lately too. He is a loser. And he's not used to that because he's always had all this fucking money and people go, wow. They find it glamorous. And the word glamour in reality means a magic that fucking throws a sheen over your cast of the situation. You're trying to see through it, and it's magic, smoke and mirrors. It's glamour. It's glamorous. And then he gets a taste of something called power. And it's just so good. And he thinks everybody's going to love him because he has power. But now that he has power, he's held accountable. And he doesn't like that. Not one bit. And his money doesn't mean so much anymore. And he finds that once he loses, he's lost. And he's upset. I think about this guy. Where did he come from? I said, never met a Trump in my life. So I decided to look it up. I went to obituaries and put a name, Jonathan Trump. I just figured I'd put a name of somebody. The first one that I could come up with was Jonathan. I didn't say John Trump. I started out with John Trump, but then I said, no, if it's going to be an obituary, as I was typing it into the thing, it's going to be Jonathan. It's going to be a full name. Proper. What did I get? The first comes up with this guy in South Carolina who died at 43. What the hell happened to him? 43 years old, he died in 2019. Like a month before his birthday. Yeah, about a month before his birthday. That's the only Trump I was coming up with at all. I'm like, there's only one other Trump? This guy must have made up the name. And then you finally get down and it's got Robert Trump, younger brother of Donald Trump, real estate investor and some kind of thing. And I'm just like, he died like in August of 2020. And I don't remember ever hearing about one of Donald's fucking brothers. He couldn't even be so good as to say, I'm sorry, I can't talk right now. I'm going to, I'm mourning my younger brother's death. Well, it was because he couldn't talk right now. He'd been shut up because he's a fucking menace on the society that we've gotten used to living in. What was he gonna do afterwards? So there are only two Trumps I came across in the obituaries. You'd think that's where you find a bunch of names. You look up my name, you'll find a bunch of them. They just... And there aren't that many of us, as it turns out, from my name. Nobody wanted to screw one of my people. It was far and hard to get to a place where you could find somebody to screw you and fucking make little Judas. As many as you can make, as many as it takes to keep the farm going. I think I've come on to something, and I'm certain that I'm not the first one to do it. But who are these people? Are they capos? Think about that. I was about to say it's done, but think about that. Were they capos? If you've ever read Franken's book of humanity, there was a guy that's a doctor that wrote a book. He was in the concentration camps. The meaning of life. He spoke of how man's search for meaning. Man's search for meaning. I've got it in there, but I read it in 95 when Vysenko gave it to me, and I read it about 10 years later, and he was in the concentration camps, and he talked about the capos, the people that were Jews. They were prisoners, but they would rat out all the people around them to stay higher above them and still be doing all right, like being a prison rat, you know. It makes me wonder if Trump's people weren't prison rats that got out and came to America, got a free ride to America, and changed their fucking name and picked a stupid one.